I woke up to the grinding scream of an excavator outside my bedroom window. Through the glass, I saw it. An 8-foot trench carved around my entire property like someone was trying to bury me alive. Mud everywhere, diesel fumes thick enough to taste. My late wife's memorial rose garden, the only thing I had left of her after cancer took her 2 years ago, half destroyed by tire tracks. And standing across the street, sipping a latte and smiling like she'd just won the lottery, Darlene Kepler, HOA president. Clipboard in hand, designer sunglasses reflecting my shock, she claimed I owed $47,000 for this emergency drainage project. No vote, no warning, just a trench designed to break me. But Darlene made one fatal mistake. She didn't know I had hidden cameras recording everything. What would you do if you woke up to this? Drop your revenge idea below. Where are you watching from? HOA, hell or freedom? Comment your state. Let me back up and tell you how I ended up in this nightmare. My name is Travis Holbrook. I'm 54, retired firefighter, widower. 3 years ago, my wife Joanne and I bought our dream retirement home in Pinecrest Meadows, a subdivision outside Colorado Springs with 120 houses, manicured lawns, and covenants thicker than a phone book. Joanne never got to enjoy it. 6 months after we moved in, pancreatic cancer took her in 11 weeks. Fastest, cruelest thing I've ever witnessed, and I've pulled bodies out of burning buildings. After she died, I poured everything into that backyard. Built her a memorial garden, roses in every color she loved, a stone bench with her name engraved, bird feeders hanging from the aspen trees. Every morning I'd sit out there with my coffee, listen to the cardinals sing, smell that burnt caramel scent from the French roast, and talk to her like she was still there. The gravel crunching under my boots as I watered those roses. That was my therapy. I kept to myself mostly. Volunteered at the fire station twice a week, drove my 15-year-old pickup, didn't bother anyone. I figured I'd earned some peace. Then I met Darlene Kepler. Picture this, a woman in her early 60s with a Botox-smooth forehead, salon blonde bob that never moves in the wind, and pastel cardigans that probably cost more than my mortgage payment. She drives a white Lexus SUV with a vanity plate that reads HOACO. I'm not kidding, HOACEO. She's been HOA president for 6 years, runs the neighborhood like her personal kingdom. Rumor has it she used to be a luxury realtor until she lost her license over some ethics complaint, but nobody talks about that. Her husband Randall is an estate attorney, the kind who wears $1,000 suits and smells like cigar smoke. You rarely see him. He's too busy making money while Darlene plays dictator. My first violation notice came about 6 months after Joanne died. The bench, my wife's memorial bench. According to Darlene, it was an unapproved hardscape feature. Fine, $150, then $50 a week until I removed it. I went to the HOA board meeting to appeal. The community clubhouse, fluorescent lights humming overhead, acoustic tile ceiling with brown water stains, folding chairs that squeaked every time you moved. 5 board members sat at a long table, all friends of Darlene, all nodding along as she spoke. I explained, the bench honors my late wife, it's fully within my property line, it's tasteful stone, it hurts nobody. Darlene smiled, that tight, condescending smile, and said, Mr. Holbrook, the covenants clearly state that any permanent structure requires architectural committee approval. Rules are rules. We can't make exceptions, even for emotional situations. The way she paused before emotional situations made my hands clench. The board voted 5-0 against me. I paid $400 in fines and left the bench exactly where it was. Civil disobedience. Joanne would have approved, but Darlene wasn't done. Next month, another violation. My pickup truck was visible from the street. Apparently it qualified as a commercial vehicle because it weighed over 6,000 pounds. She dug up some obscure covenant addendum from 1998. My truck weighed 6,200 pounds. I built a wooden screen fence along my driveway to hide it. Stayed within the height limits, used quality cedar, stained it natural. Week later, fence violation. Unapproved paint color. The covenant specified colonial gray. I'd used natural cedar stain. I started lying awake at night, ceiling fan ticking overhead, hearing Joanne's voice in my head. Don't let them bully you. The smell of that cedar fence mixed with the roses outside my window. My hands would tremble, old PTSD from my firefighting days kicking in, but I'd breathe through it. I didn't know it yet, but Darlene wasn't just being petty. She was testing me, seeing how far she could push before I broke. And the trench? That was her breaking me, or so she thought. The morning I discovered the trench, I woke at 6 a.m. to diesel engines growling outside. I stepped onto my porch barefoot, morning dew ice cold against my soles, and stopped dead. An excavator sat in the street, yellow paint catching the early sun. Surrounding my property, an 8-foot trench, raw earth piled high, orange safety fencing fluttering in the breeze. Muddy tire tracks carved through my lawn where Joanne's daffodils used to bloom. The diesel smell was so thick I could taste it, metallic, oily, coating my tongue. 3 workers stood drinking coffee. The foreman barely glanced up when I approached. "Who authorized this?" He shrugged. "HOA emergency drainage project," tapped his clipboard, signed by Darlene, dated 2 days ago. "I never received notice. We just dig where they tell us, buddy." I photographed everything: trench, work order, tire tracks. My hand stayed steady. 26 years fighting fires taught me. Panic kills, documentation wins. 20 minutes later, I rang Darlene's doorbell. Her house looked like a magazine spread: white columns, a fountain in the driveway burbling like Versailles, flower beds geometrically perfect. The doorbell chimed classical music echoing through her foyer. She answered in designer yoga pants, holding a green smoothie. Her smile was weapon-grade friendly. "Oh, Travis, hope the noise didn't wake you. You dug a trench around my property." No warning. Not entirely accurate. She sipped her smoothie, maintaining eye contact. "The HOA retained contractors for emergency drainage. Your lot's causing runoff affecting 3 neighbors. Quite serious." "There's no runoff problem." She tilted her head. Sunglasses slid down, pale blue eyes, cold as January. "Our engineering report disagrees. You'll receive the invoice. $47,000, your share." Heat crawled up my neck. In through the nose, out through the mouth, same breathing I used walking into fires. "I want to see that report." "It'll be attached to your invoice." She stepped back. "Now, if you'll excuse me, I have Pilates." The door clicked shut, soft, dismissive. I stood there breathing jasmine from her flower beds, listening to that fountain splash, thinking, this is warfare. Back home, I texted Marco, old fire department buddy, now county inspections. "Permit filed for excavation at my address?" 40 minutes later, "Nothing in system, 0 permits. That's illegal. Want an inspector?" Yesterday. By noon, a courier delivered a certified letter. HOA violation notice on embossed letterhead. Failure to maintain property aesthetics during construction. Daily fines of $100 commence immediately. I read it 3 times. She dug a trench, making my house look like a disaster zone, then fined me for how it looked. I actually laughed. Standing in my kitchen, I laughed like a man realizing he was living in a sadistic simulation. Then I called Phyllis, my neighbor 2 doors down. "Did you get notice about this drainage project?" Her voice dropped to a whisper. "Travis, Darlene came by last Tuesday, said your property's negatively impacting neighborhood values and she was remedying the situation. I didn't understand until I saw the trench." "I'm so sorry." That afternoon, I bought the cheapest security camera at the hardware store, $43, barely bigger than a deck of cards. The kid at the register tried upselling me. "This one's pretty basic, man. No night vision." "It'll do." I tucked it into the rose bushes facing Darlene's driveway, wrapped the cable in green garden tape. Joanne used to say I overthought things, but I'd learned in 26 years of firefighting, by the time you see flames, the real damage is done. Fires start hidden, smoldering in walls. You survive by catching them early. That night, I sat in my dark kitchen watching the live feed on my tablet. At 8:30, Randall's Mercedes pulled into their driveway. He and Darlene talked by the fountain. No audio, but I didn't need it. His gestures, sharp, frustrated. Hers, dismissive hand waves. Then they both turned and looked toward my house. I zoomed in on the grainy image. Randall looked worried. Darlene was smiling. Sitting there in the dark, diesel smell still clinging to my clothes, I realized she wasn't just trying to find me out of the neighborhood. She was enjoying this. The next morning, Marco's colleague showed up. County inspector named Jamal, methodical guy in his 40s. He examined the trench, asked for permits. The foreman couldn't produce one. Jamal slapped a red stop work tag on the excavator. "Project's shut down until you file proper permits." Relief hit me like cold water. It lasted 15 minutes. Darlene's Lexus whipped into my driveway. She marched to Jamal with a thick folder, heels clicking. "Excuse me, Inspector. There's been a misunderstanding." She pulled out documents. "The HOA master deed allows emergency exemptions. We have an engineering report showing imminent hazard." Jamal flipped through pages, skeptical. I don't see evidence of imminent hazard. Are you a licensed civil engineer? Her tone sharpened. We retained Grayson Engineering LLC. Their expert disagrees. She handed him a stapled report, official letterhead, signatures, technical jargon. Jamal took a copy. I'll verify this. Stop work stays in place. After he left, Darlene walked to her Lexus, paused, turned. This would be easier if you'd cooperate, Travis. She drove away. That night, I Googled Grayson Engineering LLC, basic template website. Stock photos, address, a UPS store in Denver. I pulled up the Colorado Licensing Board database, something I remembered from when we had to verify contractors at the fire station. The engineer listed on Darlene's report, no active license. I screenshot everything, sent it to Marco. His response, holy shit, that's fraud. 3 days later, Jamal returned with a senior county engineer, woman in her 50s, reading glasses on a chain. They spent an hour examining the trench, taking soil samples. I watched from my kitchen window, hope building in my chest. Then Darlene's Lexus pulled up. She walked straight to them carrying a leather portfolio, pulling out documents, pointing at highlighted sections, her mouth moving fast. The senior engineer took the papers, nodded. 15 minutes later, Jamal knocked on my door. His face told me everything. Mr. Holbrook, I'm sorry. My supervisor reviewed the HOA's documentation. They've got an emergency exemption clause that predates current permit requirements. Technically, they can proceed. The engineering report is fake. The company doesn't exist. The report has a PE stamp from a licensed engineer in Florida. We'd need to contact Florida's board to verify. Takes weeks. My hands are tied. He looked genuinely apologetic. You've got grounds for legal action, but I can't stop the work. After he left, I watched the excavator fire back up. The grinding of metal on rock, the belch of black exhaust. By afternoon, they'd dug deeper, 10 feet now, and closer to my foundation. That night, checking my basement, I saw it. A hairline crack running up the concrete wall, floor to ceiling, 1/4 inch wide. I ran my finger along it, felt moisture. My stomach dropped. This was Joanne's old craft room. Her sewing machine still sat in the corner under a sheet. The crack ran right behind her work table. I pressed my palm against the wall. Cold, damp. They were destroying the house we'd built together. Next morning, I called a structural engineer, Marissa, 30 years experience. She showed up in work boots and a hard hat, spent 2 hours taking measurements. When she finished, she didn't sugarcoat it. Mr. Holbrook, that trench removed lateral support from your foundation. Soil's shifting. If they leave it open much longer, you're looking at $80,000 in repairs, minimum. She handed me a printed report. You need to stop this work immediately. How? Lawyer. Injunction. Today. I called Lou Ferraro, solo practitioner Shanice recommended, worked out of a converted house. His office smelled like old books and burnt coffee. 60s, gray beard, flannel shirt under a sport coat. He read Marissa's report, eyes sharp. This is actionable. But if we file an injunction, we tip our hand. They'll cover tracks. I want to catch them dirty. How? Your cameras. Keep recording. And formally request HOA financial records, meeting minutes, contracts, bank statements. You're entitled under Colorado law. When they refuse or produce fakes, we've got them. He started typing. I'll send this certified tomorrow. They have 30 days to comply. I left feeling something I hadn't felt in weeks. Direction. A plan. That feeling lasted 6 hours. I came home from the hardware store. I'd bought 3 more cameras. And found all 4 truck tires slashed, not flat, slashed. Long cuts in the sidewalls, rubber peeling like wounds. The smell of raw rubber hit me. Sharp, chemical. Officer Ramirez came, took photos. Young guy, maybe 28. Any cameras catch it? Blind spot. Installing more tonight. He nodded, sympathetic. Without evidence, we can't do much. Could be kids. It's not kids. Probably not, he admitted. But I can't arrest someone on probably. Next night, someone smeared dog shit on my mailbox. Fresh, still warm when I found it, flies gathering. The smell made me gag, thick, rancid, mixing with diesel fumes. I hosed it off, hands shaking, and installed 4 new cameras. $700 I couldn't afford, but I was past caring. That evening, I sat on Joanne's memorial bench watching fireflies blink in the rose bushes. Rose scent mixed with turned earth, creating this strange perfume of life and destruction. My tablet sat beside me, showing live feeds from all 4 cameras. At 2:17 a.m., Darlene's Lexus drove past my house, slowly. Stopped in front of my mailbox for 15 seconds, long enough to screenshot her license plate clearly in the streetlight, then drove away. I sent it to Lou with timestamp. His 7 a.m. reply, "She's rattled. Good, keep documenting. Clock's ticking on that records request. 23 days left until the HOA had to respond. 23 days for Darlene to either produce evidence of her crimes or dig herself deeper hiding them." I thought about something my fire captain used to say. A cornered animal's the most dangerous kind. I was about to find out how dangerous Darlene could get. My phone buzzed. Email from a throwaway account. No name, generic subject line, FYI. Message body, check county property records for Darlene Kepler's house. She's got problems. I stared at the screen for a long minute, then opened my laptop. The county assessor's office smelled like old carpet and photocopy toner. The clerk behind scratched plexiglass looked like she'd been there since the Carter administration. Property records for what address? I gave her Darlene's address. She typed slowly, squinted at her screen. $2 for the printout. I sat outside and read the pages twice. Darlene and Randall Kepler, $140,000 in delinquent property taxes, second notice issued, tax lien filed, home equity loan taken last year for $320,000 on a house they'd bought for $280,000 15 years ago. They were underwater, drowning in debt. The $47,000 drainage assessment suddenly made perfect sense. She wasn't fixing a problem, she was manufacturing one to steal HOA money. I was just the easiest target, a lone, grieving widower who looked like he'd fold. I photographed everything, sent it to Lou. His response, "Bingo, this is motive. Embezzling to cover personal debt. Keep quiet, we use it at the right moment." That night I couldn't sleep, just stared at the ceiling fan tick-tick-ticking, replaying every interaction with Darlene. This wasn't about covenants, this was about money. The next morning I found Joanne's roses dying, not wilting, dying, brown leaves curling inward. The smell hit me. Chemical, acrid, burning my nose. Herbicide. Someone had poisoned my wife's memorial garden. I dropped to my knees, touching the wilted petals, felt something crack inside my chest. These were roses I'd planted with Joanne the week we moved in. Pink Peace, her favorite. Crimson Glory for our anniversary. Golden Celebration because she loved how they smelled like tea and honey, now brown, dead, poisoned. On the stone bench, someone had spray painted in red, "Move." I sat on dying grass, roses crunching under my knees, and cried for the first time since Joanne's funeral. Not from fear, from rage. When I could breathe, I called Lou. They killed her roses, spray painted her bench. Silence. Then, "Travis, take photos, document everything, but do not retaliate. She's trying to make you snap so she can claim you're unstable." "I'm not going to snap. 2 more weeks until they respond to our records request. Can you hold on?" I looked at the dead roses, the spray paint, the trench gaping like an open wound. "Yeah, I can hold on." But that night, sitting in darkness, watching camera feeds, I pulled my gun safe from the hall closet. I didn't load the pistol, didn't even take it out, just opened the combination lock, right to 17, left to 34, right to 8, and looked at it sitting in foam padding. My service weapon from firefighting days. The weight had always been calming, grounding. I closed the safe, spun the lock, put it back. Then sat and watched Darlene's house on screen. At 11 p.m., her bedroom light turned off. At 11:40, it turned back on. Shadows moving behind curtains, pacing, back and forth. She couldn't sleep either. Good. Next day, Shanice knocked holding a casserole dish. "Tuna noodle. And don't say you're fine. Nobody's fine when their roses look like that." She pushed into my kitchen. "I've been talking to neighbors, quietly. You know how many people Darlene's fined in 3 years?" "How many?" 42 households, some multiple times. Patricia paid $3,000 for unapproved Halloween decorations. Greg got hit for $1,800 because his basketball hoop was 6 inches too tall. She leaned against my counter. "People are scared of her, but they're also pissed. You're not alone." After she left, I ate the casserole standing at my sink, looking at the trench. For the first time in weeks, I didn't feel alone. My phone buzzed. Lou. Records request response due in 3 days. Start getting ready. This is about to get very loud. I texted back. Good. I'm done being quiet. That night I ordered a body camera online, the kind police wear, clips to your shirt, $83, next day shipping. Because I'd remembered something from my years as a volunteer firefighter trainer. We used to tell rookies that proper documentation could mean the difference between a lawsuit you win and one that destroys you. Every incident report, every witness statement, every photograph mattered in court. If Darlene wanted to escalate, every second would be documented. The body camera arrived the next afternoon. I tested it, clipping it to my shirt pocket while I watered what was left of Joanne's garden. The roses were beyond saving, but I watered them anyway. That evening, right on schedule, Darlene's Lexus drove slowly past my house. This time, my body camera caught her face clearly through the windshield. She wasn't smiling anymore. She was scared. And I realized she knew the deadline was coming. Knew she'd have to produce financial records or refuse and admit guilt. The fire was closing in on her. Day 30 arrived on a Tuesday. I sat in Lou's office watching him refresh his email every 30 seconds. They have until 5 p.m. to respond, he said. If they miss deadline, that's a violation we can take to court. At 4:47, his email pinged. Lou read for 10 seconds, then started laughing. Not happy, the kind of laugh when someone hands you exactly what you need to destroy them. He spun his laptop around. Email from Randall Kepler's law firm. HOA board declines document request proprietary information. Attached a single-page summary instead of actual records. The summary claimed HOA reserve account held $230,000. Lou pulled up a calculator. 120 homes, dues are $150 monthly. That's $18,000 per month, $216,000 yearly. Over 3 years, we requested that's $648,000 in revenue alone, not counting special assessments. He looked up. Where's the other $400,000? Gone, I said. Exactly. He started typing. Refusing to provide records violates Colorado HOA statute. Homeowners have absolute right to inspect financials. I'm filing suit tomorrow. We're going after Darlene personally, the HOA, Randall for conspiracy, and that fake engineering company. My phone buzzed. Shanice. Kendra from Channel 9 wants to talk. Gave her your number. Okay? Before I could respond, my phone rang. Mr. Holbrook? Kendra Yoshida, Channel 9 investigative reporter. Your neighbor sent me information about your situation. Do you have time to talk? I looked at Lou. He nodded, mouthed speaker. I'm here with my attorney. What do you need? Documentation, photos, video, financial records, Lou answered. Engineering reports showing foundation damage, fraudulent permits, county records showing the president's tax delinquency, video evidence of harassment, and proof they're refusing to disclose financials as required by law. Silence. Then, can I come see you tomorrow? Yes. After we hung up, Lou pulled up the HOA master deed on his computer. He'd been reading it for days. Found something. He scrolled to page 47. Buried in the 1992 original covenant, any special assessment exceeding $5,000 per household requires 2/3 majority vote of all homeowners, not just board approval. He looked at me. Did Darlene hold a community-wide vote on your $47,000 assessment? No, just the board, 5 people. Then the assessment is void, completely unenforceable. He highlighted the text. But here's the beautiful part. She knows this. She had to know, which means she wasn't trying to collect $47,000. She was trying to scare you into selling before her embezzlement came to light. The pieces clicked. The trench wasn't about drainage. It was about making my house unsellable, my life unbearable, forcing me out before anyone noticed the missing money. I thought about Joanne's roses, brown and poisoned. How much jail time? I asked. Lou smiled, the prosecutor kind. Colorado embezzlement over $50,000 is class 3 felony, 2 to 8 years, plus restitution fines. She'll never work in real estate or HOA management again. He closed his laptop. Tomorrow we file, then we watch her world fall apart. That night, I sat on the spray-painted bench in what remained of Joanne's garden. I pulled out my phone, opened the camera, started recording. Joanne, I said to the phone, to the stars, to wherever she was, I'm about to go to war. Wish me luck. The fireflies blinked in the darkness. Tomorrow, everything changed. The next morning, Kendra showed up with a cameraman and producer carrying equipment. She was younger than I expected, mid-30s, sharp eyes behind stylish glasses. She set up in my living room tripod position to catch the trench through my window. "Before we start," she said, "once this airs, there's no going back. Your face on TV. Darlene will know you're coming. Ready?" I looked at Joanne's photo on the mantel. "I'm ready." The interview took an hour. I showed her everything: engineering report, fake Grayson engineering website, Darlene's tax delinquency, my camera footage of her driving past at 2 a.m., the spray-painted bench, dead roses. When I showed herbicide damage to Joanne's memorial garden, Kendra's expression changed. She had the cameraman do a slow pan across the brown bushes. "This is good," she said quietly. "Journalist good. We'll verify everything and reach out to Darlene for comment. I'm airing this next week." After they left, Lou called an emergency meeting. When I arrived at his office, I wasn't alone. Shanice was there, along with Phyllis, Marco, and Greg, the guy who'd confronted me at the mailbox weeks ago. Greg stood when I walked in, extended his hand. "Travis, I owe you an apology. Shanice showed me the county records. If Darlene stole from the fund, she stole from all of us." Lou pulled up a whiteboard. "Here's where we are." He drew a timeline. Phase 1, file lawsuit tomorrow. Fraud, embezzlement, negligence. We're asking for damages covering foundation repair, legal fees, plus forensic audit of all HOA finances. Phase 2, Kendra's investigation airs. Public pressure forces HOA insurance company to act. They hate liability. Phase 3, force emergency HOA meeting. Any 20 homeowners can petition for one under Colorado statute. We'll vote to remove Darlene, install interim board, authorize legal action. Phase 4, criminal referral to district attorney. Hand over everything, let prosecutors decide charges. Phyllis raised her hand. "I'm a retired IRS auditor, 32 years. Get me those financial records. When you subpoena them, I'll find every irregularity." Marco leaned forward. "I've been documenting every permit violation in Pinecrest Meadows for 3 years. Not just Travis's trench, everything. Darlene approved unpermitted work for friends, denied permits for people she didn't like. Pattern of favoritism, I can testify." Shanice pulled out her phone. "I've been talking to neighbors quietly. 47 households have had problems with Darlene. Excessive fines, arbitrary enforcement. Most are scared, but if Travis leads, they'll follow." I looked around Lou's cramped office at this mismatched group and felt something I hadn't felt since Joanne died. Community. Lou capped his marker. "Travis, you asked how we fight this. Here's how. Systematically, thoroughly, loudly. Darlene's power comes from people being afraid and isolated. We're taking both away." He handed me a folder. "Template document request letter. Under Colorado law, any homeowner can request HOA records. I want all of you," he gestured around, "to send identical requests tomorrow. 47 households asking for same documents. That's not a request. That's a siege." That night we gathered at my house. My kitchen table covered in printouts. HOA bylaws, Colorado statutes, sample letters. Phyllis walked everyone through what to look for. Unexplained transfers, missing receipts, payments to shell companies, duplicate invoicing. She explained it the way my old fire captain used to teach rookie firefighters, breaking complex procedures into simple steps anyone could follow. Check account balances against dues collected. Flag any vendor without a legitimate business address. Compare board meeting minutes against actual expenditures. Greg asked what everyone was thinking. What if she retaliates? Against all of us? Lou didn't sugarcoat it. She might try, document everything, cameras if you can afford them, but bullies lose power once they know you're organized. Marco grinned. Plus, half of us work for the county. Good luck retaliating against a building inspector. We spent 3 hours drafting letters, copying documents, building what Lou called the case file from hell. By midnight, everyone had left except Shanice. She helped me clean up. "You know what's funny?" she said, loading my dishwasher. "A month ago, I didn't know your last name. Now I'd take a shift at your hospital bed." "That's not funny. That's nice." "It's both." She closed the dishwasher. "Darlene thought she could isolate you. Instead, she gave us all a reason to actually meet each other." After she left, I sat on Joanne's bench in the dark, body camera still clipped to my shirt. My phone buzzed. Email from Lou. "Complaint filed, case number assigned. Darlene gets served tomorrow at 9 a.m. I looked at the trench, still gaping around my property. But for the first time since this started, I knew exactly how it would heal. With sunlight, witnesses, truth. At 9:07 a.m., a process server knocked on Darlene's door. Marco happened to be driving past. Purely coincidental. He texted me a photo. Darlene in her bathrobe, face pale, holding lawsuit papers like they might bite. By noon, my power went out. Everything died. Refrigerator, ceiling fan, microwave clock dark. I checked the breaker box, all switches correct. Electric company sent a technician. He checked my meter, face went serious. Sir, someone tampered with this. Meter lock cut clean through, wires loosened. Could have caused a fire. Could have killed you. He pointed to the damage. File a police report. This is felony property damage. Officer Ramirez came, same cop from before, but his attitude had changed. Mr. Holbrook, I saw Channel 9's promotion for next week's story. I'm taking this seriously now. He photographed everything. I'm recommending a full harassment investigation. That night I reviewed camera footage. At 3:17 a.m., hours before the process server, a figure in dark clothes approached my meter. Face hidden. 90 seconds of work. But 2 minutes before the figure arrived, a white Lexus SUV parked 3 houses down. Headlights off. 2 minutes after the figure left, the Lexus drove away. I sent the footage to Ramirez and Lou. Lou. She's panicking. Panicked people make mistakes. Next morning, city code enforcement arrived. Bored-looking inspector. Anonymous complaint says you're running illegal Airbnb. I'm not. I live here. Alone. He walked through. Found nothing. Someone's wasting our time. I'll note harassment. 2 days later, another inspector. Different one. Anonymous noise complaint. I go to bed at 10 p.m. Quietest person on the block. This inspector was sharper. She lowered her voice. Sir, I'm the third inspector called here this week. Someone's weaponizing the system. I'm documenting malicious reporting. That afternoon, a post appeared in the neighborhood Facebook group. Anonymous account. Concerned resident 2025. Warning, Travis Holbrook at 847 Maple threatening HOA leadership, verbally abusive, signs of instability. Former military PTSD. Keep children at safe distance. Grainy photo of me from behind, walking to my mailbox. 43 comments before admin deleted it. Screenshots lived forever. Shanice sent me one. Got this. Forwarding to Lou. This is defamation. I sat reading comments. Some defended me. Plenty believed it. Always thought he was weird. Heard police were called multiple times. My kids play on that street. My hands shook. Not from fear, from rage. PTSD is real. I have it. Firefighters see things that never leave. Burned children, people who didn't make it, smells that cling to your uniform. But I'd never hurt anyone. And now my trauma was being weaponized. I was halfway to Darlene's house, keys in hand, before I stopped. This is what she wanted. Show up angry, give her ammunition for restraining order, prove I was unstable. I drove to the fire station instead. Captain Danny was in his office. He took one look at me, pointed to a chair. Talk. I told him everything. Travis, you're one of the best firefighters I trained. Level-headed under pressure. Don't let her take that. He stood, clapped my shoulder. You know what we do when fire gets out of control? We don't run in. We pull back, coordinate, hit it from every angle at once. You've got a team, use them. That night, Shanice organized a neighborhood walk. 32 people showed up. We walked the subdivision together, stopped at the trench around my property. Phyllis spoke first. Darlene's been bullying this neighborhood for years. I've paid over $4,000 in fines for nonsense. Travis is the first person brave enough to fight back. Greg stepped forward. I confronted Travis weeks ago, told him to just pay up. I was wrong. I was scared. We've all been scared of her. That stops tonight. By the time everyone left, I had 17 new numbers saved and a group text. Pinecrest Truth. But that same night, watching camera feeds in my dark living room, I saw a movement. Someone approaching my mailbox. Same hoodie as the person who cut my power. I grabbed my body camera, wore it constantly now, and phone, dialing 911 as I moved to the door. The figure pulled out a spray paint can. I turned on my porch light, stepped outside. Police are on their way. The figure froze, then ran, but not before my camera caught them clearly. Not Darlene. Randall, her husband, the attorney. He'd been doing her dirty work. Ramirez arrived 6 minutes later. I showed him footage. That's enough for a warrant. We can match clothing, maybe get DNA from the electrical meter. Mr. Holbrook, we're building a criminal case now, not just civil. After he left, I called Lou. Randall. It was Randall the whole time. Even better, attorney committing crimes for a client? That's disbarment, conspiracy. Travis, they're not just losing, they're losing everything. Tomorrow Kendra's story aired. Tomorrow the whole city would know. Kendra's investigation aired at 6 p.m. on Wednesday. I watched at Shanice's house with Marco, Phyllis, Greg, and 15 other neighbors. Someone brought popcorn. The segment opened with drone footage of my house. Trench circling it like a scar, dead roses, spray-painted bench. Kendra's voiceover. This is what corruption looks like in suburban Colorado. 8 minutes. She laid it out systematically. Fake engineering company, Darlene's tax delinquency, illegal trench, my foundation damage, missing HOA funds. Then came the doorstep interview. Darlene answered in full makeup and cardigan, smile already in place. Ms. Kepler, I'm investigating allegations of financial impropriety in Pinecrest Meadows HOA. Comment? Darlene's smile flickered. I don't know what you're talking about. County records show you're $140,000 behind on property taxes. HOA records suggest $200,000 in missing funds. Are you embezzling homeowner dues? Darlene went from pale to crimson. This is harassment. Get off my property. She tried closing the door. Kendra kept talking. Mr. Holbrook's home sustained foundation damage from your unpermitted trench. That's $80,000 in repairs. Are you aware? The door slammed. Kendra turned to camera. Ms. Kepler declined comment. The State Attorney General's office confirmed they've opened an investigation. Segment ended with me on Joanne's bench, dead roses behind me. I just wanted to honor my wife. That's all this was about. Shanice's living room erupted in applause. My phone buzzed. Text after text. Neighbors, thank you for standing up. Other subdivisions. Our HOA is doing this too. How do we fight? Denver Post. Can we interview you? By 7 p.m., 12,000 Facebook shares. By 8 p.m., Channel 9's website crashed. By 9 p.m., Darlene's new lawyer released a statement. Ms. Kepler denies all allegations. Mr. Holbrook's claims are exaggerated. Lou called. They're denying everything on record. When we prove it in court, it'll hurt worse. Next morning, my mailbox was knocked over. Not tipped, destroyed. Lying in street, dented like someone hit it with a bat. Metal post bent 45 degrees, cameras caught it. 2:43 a.m., dark pickup truck, someone leaned out with bat, 3 swings, gone. License plate visible for 2 frames. I sent it to Ramirez. His reply, plate registered to Gregory Sumner, ring a bell? I Googled. Gregory Sumner, Randall Kepler's law partner. They'd enlisted help. That afternoon, the HOA's insurance company sent letters to every homeowner. Notice, due to pending litigation and allegations of malfeasance, all HOA activities suspended pending investigation. Insurance company put the HOA in timeout. Within an hour, 3 board members resigned via identical emails. I am resigning effective immediately. I was unaware of financial irregularities. Only Darlene remained. That evening, Lou called emergency meeting at the clubhouse. 87 homeowners showed up, standing room only. Lou stood at front. Under Colorado statute, when a board loses quorum, homeowners can petition for emergency election. We have 63 signatures. Tonight, we're voting to remove Darlene Kepler and install interim board. Darlene wasn't there. The votes took 15 minutes. Remove Darlene as president, 84. Yes, 0 no, 3 abstain. Elect interim board. Phyllis, Shanice, Greg, Marco, Patricia, unanimous. Authorize lawsuit to recover stolen funds, 87. Yes, 0 no. Void all special assessments from past year, 87. Yes, 0 no. When Lou announced my $47,000 assessment was void, the room applauded. Phyllis stood. I've completed preliminary audit, $180,000 in unexplained transfers over 3 years. Wire transfers to an LLC owned by Darlene and Randall. Fake invoices from Grayson Engineering. This wasn't sloppy bookkeeping. This was systematic theft. Can we get our money back? Someone shouted. That's what the lawsuit is for, Lou said. I've also referred everything to the DA. Criminal charges are likely. After the meeting, neighbors lined up, handshakes, hugs, thanks. Greg pulled me aside. When you stood up to her, you gave us permission to stop being afraid. That matters. I drove home around 10, exhausted, but almost happy. My phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Heavy breathing. Then Darlene's voice, strained, desperate. You've ruined my life. Darlene, hang up and talk to your lawyer. Everything I did was for this neighborhood, to keep values high, and you destroyed me because of a stupid bench. This was never about a bench. This was about you stealing money and abusing power. I'm losing my house. My husband left. We're going to jail because you couldn't follow simple rules. I sat in my truck, engine idling, looking at the trench. You made a choice. You chose to dig that trench, poison my wife's roses, steal from neighbors. I just chose not to let you. Silence. Then she hung up. I saved the recording, one-party consent state, and sent it to Lou. His response: that's admission of guilt. She handed us everything. Next morning, Randall was arrested. Ramirez called. We matched fibers from your electrical meter to his hoodie. DNA on coffee cup. He's charged with criminal mischief, property damage, conspiracy. What about Darlene? DA's building the case. Embezzlement charges coming. That afternoon, I hired a company to fill the trench. 8 hours, 3 dump trucks, compactors sounding like thunder. By sunset, my property line was level. Tomorrow was the final community meeting. Media present. Public confrontation. I was ready. The meeting was scheduled for 7 p.m. Friday. By 6:30, the clubhouse parking lot was full. Cars lined the street for 2 blocks, 3 news vans. Inside, every chair taken, 140 people, maybe more. The air smelled like burnt coffee and nervous sweat. At the front table, Quinn Foster from the Attorney General's office, Phyllis, Lou, 2 county officials. A sheriff's deputy stood by the door. I sat third row with Shanice, Marco, and Greg. Body camera clipped to my shirt. At 6:58, the side door opened. Darlene walked in. The room went silent. She looked different. Hair less perfect, makeup thicker, hiding exhaustion, cardigan wrinkled. She carried a leather folder, clutched like a shield, and walked to the front table alone. No Randall, no lawyer. She sat isolated, everyone angled away from her. Quinn called the meeting to order at 7 sharp. This emergency meeting addresses allegations of financial misconduct within Pinecrest Meadows HOA. I'm Quinn Foster, Attorney General's office. She outlined. Forensic audit findings, criminal investigation, insurance concerns, community vote removing Darlene. Ms. Kepler, you have the right to remain silent or address allegations. Darlene stood, hands shaking. Everything I did was for this community. Yes, there were accounting irregularities, mistakes, but there was a real drainage issue. Mr. Holbrook is twisting facts because he refuses to follow rules. She pulled out printed Facebook posts. This man has PTSD. He's threatened me multiple times. He's turned this neighborhood against me. Lou stood. Ms. Foster, for the record, we have recordings proving Ms. Kepler fabricated those threats. He nodded to Marco. The projector screen lit up. The compilation played. Darlene handing envelope to Foreman. Audio. She wants it to look bad. Darlene on phone. Once he sells, we'll have enough to cover the lien. Her at my door. I'll give you $50,000. Cash. Final clip. Bank statements showing HOA transfers to personal LLC. $180,000 highlighted. The room erupted. Gasps. You stole from us! Quinn banged her gavel. Order! Darlene's face went gray. She tried speaking, mouth opening, closing, no words. Greg stood. Darlene, you fined me $1,800 for a basketball hoop. You said community standards. You stole that money. More voices. $3,000 for Halloween decorations. She threatened to lien my house over a mailbox. Quinn banged harder. Order. Ms. Kepler, do you wish to respond? Darlene grabbed her purse, stood. I don't have to sit here and be attacked. She walked to the exit. The deputy stepped forward. Quinn's voice cut through. Ms. Kepler, leaving doesn't change the criminal referral. The DA will contact you. Darlene stopped, turned. For the first time, she cried. Not delicate, ugly crying, mascara running, face crumpling. I was going to lose my house. We were drowning in debt. I just needed time to fix it. The room stayed silent. I stood. Darlene. She looked at me, eyes red. I moved here after my wife died. I wanted peace. You took that. You destroyed her memorial garden. You tried to ruin my home. My voice cracked. But I don't want revenge. I want justice. pay back every homeowner, fix my foundation, and get help, whatever drove you to this. I thought of all the people I'd pulled from burning buildings, people who'd made terrible choices. I've seen people do terrible things under pressure. I'm a firefighter. We rescue people even when they've made mistakes. I hope you find a way back. The room was quiet. Darlene covered her face and walked out. The deputy followed. Quinn waited. The following votes are recorded. Ms. Kepler removed from all HOA positions. Interim board authorized to pursue restitution. All special assessments from past year void, adjourned. Nobody moved. Phyllis stood and started clapping. Then Shanice, Greg, Marco. Within seconds, the entire room applauded. Not for me, for all of us, for standing up. Kendra appeared with camera crew. Mr. Holbrook, how does it feel? I looked around. Neighbors who'd become friends, empty chair where Darlene sat, Joanne's photo on my lap. It feels like democracy working, that's all. Outside, chaos. News crews, neighbors hugging, someone brought beer. Lou found me. Criminal charges next week, embezzlement, fraud, conspiracy, Randall's cooperating, throwing Darlene under the bus. What about the money? Civil suit takes time, but with criminal conviction, restitution is court-ordered. You'll get foundation repaired. Everyone gets fines back. He clapped my shoulder. You did it, Travis. I drove home around 11. My property line was level, trench filled. In darkness, you couldn't tell it had been there. I sat on Joanne's bench, still spray-painted, but I liked it now. A scar. Evidence of battle. We won, I whispered. It's over. Fireflies blinked in the empty garden. Tomorrow, I'd plant new roses. 3 months later, spring arrived in Colorado, and with it, justice. Foundation repair took 2 weeks. The new HOA board, led by Phyllis, paid from recovered funds, $35,000. My basement wall came back stronger, waterproofed, steel reinforced. Darlene pled guilty to 3 counts embezzlement, 1 count fraud, 18 months county jail with work release, 5 years probation, full restitution, $180,000. She took the deal. Randall got probation and community service. Colorado bar suspended his license 3 years. He moved to Arizona, started over as a paralegal. Their house sold at auction, every penny to victims. Patricia cried, getting her $3,000 refund. Greg used his $1,800 for Disneyland, sent me a photo. Justice paid for this. The HOA reformed completely. New bylaws with community input. Fines capped at $100, mandatory 30-day warnings. Monthly meetings became potlucks. Attendance 5 to 40. But the biggest change came from Shanice. $60,000 remained after refunds and legal fees. What if we did something good? She said on my porch, iced tea sweating in Colorado heat. That's how Joanne's Garden Scholarship was born. $5,000 annually for high school seniors pursuing public service, firefighting, nursing, teaching, EMT, social work. The careers Joanne believed changed the world one person at a time. First ceremony, Saturday in May, my backyard. I'd replanted with neighborhood help, pink peace roses, Joanne's favorite, blooming again. Golden celebration filling air with that scent like tea and honey and summer mixed together. New memorial bench under cedar arbor Marco built. Plaque, for Joanne and for stubborn love. In memory of those who refused to be silenced. 80 people came. Kendra covered it. First recipient, Shanice's daughter Destiny, 18, nursing school bound. She hugged me hard. You could have stayed quiet. You didn't. That's what I want to be. Someone who doesn't stay quiet when something's wrong. I cleared my throat 3 times. Your mom's the same way. You come from good people. Over 6 months, I helped 11 families navigate HOA disputes. Lou handled legal. I handled, here's what worked. Colorado passed reforms. Media called it Travis's Law. Required third-party audits for HOAs over 50 units. Criminal penalties for embezzlement. I testified at the Capitol. Stood before legislators. Told them about roses, trench, spray-painted bench. This isn't about me. It's about every person who feels powerless against petty authority. You can change that. Bill passed unanimously. 26-0 Senate, 65-0 House. 6 months after the meeting, I met Lydia. 52, teacher, widow, fire station charity event. Talked 3 hours about books and loss and starting over. She visited, saw Joanne's memorial, touched the bench plaque like something sacred. She must have been special. She was, and I think she'd want me to keep living. Lydia smiled. Afternoon sun catching auburn hair streaked with gray. I think she would too. We started slow. Coffee dates, dinners, walks where everyone now knew my name. One evening on the bench watching fireflies, her hand found mine. Golden celebration scent surrounded us. "You know what I love about this garden?" she said. "It's not about what died. It's about what grew back stronger." A year later, Kendra did final interview. Backyard, roses blooming, Lydia making iced tea in the kitchen. Did you think it would end here? Scholarship funds, legislative reform? I looked at the garden, thought about the trench that used to wound this property, thought about Joanne. I just wanted to keep her bench. Everything else happened because neighbors became friends, because people stopped being afraid. Nobody does anything alone. What's next? Vegetable garden, tomatoes, and helping a guy in Fort Collins with his HOA, normal retired guy stuff. That night, alone on the bench, I recorded a voice memo, my year-long habit. "Joanne, you made me promise I'd keep living, find joy, help people. I'm doing that. I hope you're proud. I hope you're surrounded by roses that never die." Next morning, phone rang. "Mr. Holbrook? National HOA Reform Coalition. We'd like you to testify before Congress about HOA abuse. Interested?" I looked at Joanne's roses, at neighbors waving, at the community we'd built. "Yeah, I'm interested. Because some fires you put out and some fires you let spread to light the way. Drop your HOA nightmare in the comments. Craziest fine, pettiest rule, worst board member." Top story gets featured next month on HOA Tales. Fighting HOA corruption now? Screenshot this. Contact your state AG. Google State AG HOA complaint. Request financial records via certified mail, legally required. Document everything. You're more powerful than you think. Subscribe to HOA Tales for next week. Landlord changed my locks while I was at work. I changed his life. Remember, you don't have to stay silent. When you stand up, you give everyone permission to do the same. See you next time on HOA Tales.